Hello YouTube, today's video is going to be about the left-hand path. This is coming from a voodoo perspective. Well, I want to first start off by saying in voodoo, there really isn't really a concept of a left and right-hand path. That is something that I say that I formulated. I formulated because, being in the West, there's this concept of good and evil, and left and right, benevolent and benevolent. In voodoo, that really doesn't exist. The only line that's actually drawn is basically the line between what they call the Rada spirits, which are what considered as the less aggressive forces, and you have the Pitro Loi, which means gods whatsoever, which are what people call the more of aggressive, the more of aggressive forces itself, But in voodoo itself, you have mainly most of the time you have people that serve both, that serve all the spirits itself. They really don't make the distinguishment. They just know that when it comes down to certain forces work faster than others, and some are more aggressive. The consequences are more when they don't make their offerings. So with the left hand path, I would say this as a person that I would say majority of the forces that I work with or Loa that I work with are very aggressive, basically from Ezuli Dontor to Lagen Congo, to Ogu Ferrai. Some people say that's a debate whatsoever if Ogu Ferrai is Rada or Petro itself, you know. But as far as Bawon Samzi, Bawon La Kwa, stuff, deities like that I've worked with, are very aggressive itself, The consequences are like harder, because the thing is when it boils down to rituals itself, if you don't make your offerings, there's like a backlash itself. But basically the left and right hand path, I say it's like this. It's pretty much the same. It's pretty much, there's really isn't really a left and right hand path. There's just one path, and there's different forces that you can basically choose to associate with your destination. Some forces are more aggressive than others, and and some are less aggressive than others. So the thing about the forces that you have working in your life, I mean, it's a choice of what a person chooses to have in their life or chooses to embrace. As far as the aggressive path goes, why would a person choose the aggressive path? Because many feel, and I feel myself, is that it works faster. The time it takes to see results, definitely you see them faster with the aggressive forces, and you have the, what do you call the benevolent, you see results, but it's faster. In the aggressive ones, especially if you're living in aggressive terrain, and if you're a person that doesn't really believe in turn the other cheek, the what you would call the left hand path or the pitwo, which is basically, as I said earlier on, they actually separate them into Rada and Pitro. The Pitro forces would be the best for a person to actually have in their life itself. So because you're dealing with aggressive people, and and if you don't believe in other cheek and you like to see your enemies or people who've done you wrong to be compensated for their wrong, uh, definitely, Petro is the path itself. Where if you're benevolent and you like to forgive, then you would go with the path of Rada itself, because those forces, they don't really harm. Where per se Petro, you can have anything from where a person breaking their leg to actually dying itself. That's the basic, that's the difference really between the two forces itself, So in reality, when you talk about the ritual itself, these are things created by humans. People in Haiti, they found out, what different forces do, and they basically came up with a chart to say, well, you know what, these forces are hot, so we're gonna say, or as they would say, força chaud, they probably made up a chart like, what, this is what it is. And these are lightweight spirits, so we're gonna give these spirits to Rada. So and then you have the Christian, the Christian influence or the Catholic influence, where people come up with this concept of good and evil. So they basically come up with this standard of what is good and what is evil. So you have the evil ones that some people refer to as Petro, and you have the ones that are good, people refer to as the lightweight or the Rada spirits itself. But as far as the path goes, it's one destination and, many ways to get there. And if your way of getting there is the aggressive aspect, that's what it is. There isn't really any consequence. Well, let me just put it like this. There's a big confusion when it comes to like left hand taking a left hand path. Is that a person who does that is basically dealing with black magic and you're doing curses itself. I think what that is people who don't understand, the philosophy behind the left hand path. The concept of doing evil. I mean, if you're a spiritual person, you understand that when you're doing, if you're using black magic and you're burning black candles, or you're doing, you're using these negative oils, you definitely know that these have some like reflection. They have a bearing on your life. So a wise person, be it even if they're on the left hand path, would not even choose that, because their forces that they have are so aggressive. There would be really no need for them to even seek revenge. So as far as that goes, for me, I say this. I've basically followed the left hand path, but as far as talking about black magic, do I do black magic? Absolutely not. I used to, but I realized the consequences. And, the fact that I'm protected spiritually, there's really no need for me to even do things to harm. If anything, I will have my workers, or what they call my loa, or either I would have what you call my point, or my point, which is point, are basically forms of basically talismans. Basically, I have a lot of aggressive forces that I carry with me. Basically, I mean, if you want to talk about talismans, I can go from anywhere from the Goetia talismans to basically, to a particular voodoo, veve written on a piece of paper whatsoever. And that could be, a form of, a talisman whatsoever that I carry that's very aggressive. So when a person does me wrong, there is a detrimental reaction to that person's action towards me. So as far as that is concerned, but it's not as to say that I'm doing anything wrong. If the person didn't attack me or do wrong to me, the bad that they experienced would not happen to them. So as far as the left-hand path goes, there is, everyone has a choice, but for me, it's not productive, it's not constructive and productive for me to do black magic, one, because you lose more than you gain when you're actually doing that. Again, that's the purpose of having the aggressive forces. And that's the path, the reason for taking the left-hand path, because you have these aggressive forces in your life, and these are the forces that are working for you to reach your destination. So with that said, I'm going to conclude this video, and I hope this was informative. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.